All right, guys, we're going to talk about things that are alive and things that are dead. Okay? And I created a planner called my GSP, my goal setting planner. And I'm going to go over a story on how it kind of came to fruition for me and why I developed it. But I like to use the analogy of the Dead Sea and the Sea of Galilee. You guys familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
Jordan River runs into both of them, right? The Dead Sea is water that is pretty much toxic. You don't want to jump in there. It's dark, it's crap, it's gross, and toxic. I mean, it's disgusting. Then there's the Sea of Galilee. And that has like 27 species of beautiful fish. It's gorgeous, it's blue water, you can see to the bottom. It's one of the prettiest seas in the world is the Sea of Galilee. And the reason why the Sea of Galilee is like that and the Dead Sea is not, is that the Sea of Galilee has somewhere to flow. So not only does it take the water in from the Jordan, just like the Dead Sea, but it flows. And it allows that water to flow through it. Okay? I'm now a man of faith, so I do talk when I'm doing more faith-filled talks about how it doesn't matter if I have God in me if He's not shown through me, right? And the same thing goes to your social life with your friends. If you're just an asshole to your buddies, or your family, if you can't forgive anybody, or your financial world, your career, where you just the Dead Sea, just sitting there doing nothing, just allowing time to tick. When I was young, I grew up with my biological father being an alcoholic. He kicked my mom in the stomach when she was 7 months pregnant with me. My uncle Tony threw him a beating. They were divorced by the time I was 2 months old, and I hardly saw him growing up. And I lived with a stepfather. A lot of you guys might have the same exact story or something similar where somebody we trust in our life that's supposed to protect us abuses us, tells us we're garbage, we're fat, we're not going to go anywhere, or we're losers like our real father, or poking you and touching you and hitting you and making you feel small, especially when you're already a young kid. So when I grew up in that space and I was bopping around between house to house, I grew up, my last 4 years of high school, I lived in 4 different homes with 4 different families, just to stay in the football district where I was at. And so betrayal was kind of big to me because it was hitting me on every level, because I had a girlfriend. Anybody in high school had a girl or a boyfriend that you love so much, and they didn't quite love you the same. The love's uneven, so when the breakup happens, you're in tears. And so I went through all that. There was nothing really ticking for me. I felt like the Dead Sea, right? I was like, I promise you, I thought I'm onto shit. It's like Dan says. Okay, I'm gonna probably be fat my whole life. I was always a chunky elementary school kid, went into junior high. And this Dead Sea that was being created kind of a monster. I'm making this up now, but like a Loch Ness monster. I literally became a fighter. Like I was, boy, I had some anger in me. When I was in high school, I promise you, my junior and senior year of high school, I went and took care, like physically fought or attempted to fight anybody that abused me as a child. Like I just turned into a mean, tough fighter. I was working out, I was running, I was a defensive end. I just had everything to prove these sons of bitches wrong, that they can't take advantage of me. So I was a fighter in the military. I was just a mean kid. And I never understood why my mother had stayed with this asshole that whole time, and I had all this anger and frustration, and I literally I was so tense walking through life. It was incredible. Like you couldn't say, if we're at the bar and you give me the deal, I'm that guy. What? That, you know what I mean? The bump, and it always, when you attract what you put out. We're all energies, right? So we attract everything we put out. Hence the Johnny Inspired now. Like I only want love and happiness. I only want to feel good at this stage of my life. But back then, I was like, who wants it? Come and get it, because you don't even know what's bottled up in this mother. You have no idea. And so it's funny because my mother finally divorced Dan when I got out of the military, and I went into her garage. And the one thing I found on a shelf in the garage, and mind you, I've been sold cars, in the Army, making $900 a month as an E2 private, regular unit. Broke is a joke. And so I'm in the garage, and all of a sudden I find this goal setting cassette, 6 cassette tape player set. It was like it's a goal setting. I can't remember exactly. I can't remember the author on it or anything, but I remember putting the tapes in, and I just listened to them in the car. And it taught me how to set goals. Taught me how to take inventory where I was at and how to write them down and then how to take action on them. And I promise you, I wanted to show Dan, my stepfather, so bad that I could be a success, that anger and that inner, like I would jog at night and I would run through all the neighborhoods with the 3-car garages and 2-story brick homes. And I would just imagine and see myself driving in there with my hot wife and my Mercedes. I envisioned it. And I literally was internalizing this stuff. Like it was incredible. And I set this plan into action that I made when I did the goal setting technique. I actually sat down with it. I took inventory. And it was like, hey, if you guys see my Johnny Inspired post, you'll see the goal setting one. And I wrote it out. I was like, I'm John Laub. I'm going nowhere. Everything I touch is garbage. It's this whole list of where I'm at right now. I took inventory. I literally was in this motion, in this dead sea with all this anger, with all this stress, with all this hurt. I even have a little bit, I like to let go. We're going to talk about that because it's important to move forward. You can't be looking through the rearview mirror while you're trying to drive forward or you're going to crash every time, right? You just can't do it. So I literally, when I got this, I got in the mortgage business and I went and I made all the calls I said I was going to make on my action plan every day, every week. I was on a mission. And next thing you know, I'm flowing in life. I literally became the second banker in the second year I was in Mortgages Unlimited, the second volume banker that year. And then I started my own company in 2000 and I did $1 billion in mortgage loans in my first 4 years. And I was the only one that when I was at Mortgages Unlimited that took my goals that I had set out for that year. I remember I wanted to make $100,000 and I made $128. I wanted to make $150, I made $175. I wanted to make $200, I made $250. It was just, but I had it in front of me and I had a plan and I literally did not stop. But I was this like anger, I'll show you mother that I got you filled being, right? So everything was focused on getting the money. And if you don't got money, it ranks right up there with air, right? When you don't have it, and when you do have it, you're better looking, right? It gives you a little better looking. Like, there's not too many billionaires or rich guys rolling around, that don't look a little better than they did in the past. So money is this weird thing. And I don't think that money is not the root of happiness. It's not going to give you happiness. But I always wanted to find out what it would do for me, right? Like, who doesn't want to find that out? So I focused on it, and I literally became a machine in the banking business. I did everything I could do to make money. I opened a company in Panama and Central America with Roberto Duran. I had made relationships. I was on top of the world. And I could make any decision I wanted to, where I wanted to go, where I wanted to eat on the weekends, and how I wanted to act. And I said not how I wanted to act, just who I wanted to be with. I could fly where I wanted to fly. I was in Vegas almost every month. I made all those decisions. Now, the plan of action I took got me this success. But the problem was, I was still in the Dead Sea, right? I was still this Loch Ness monster with all this pent up anger and frustration. It wasn't until I looked at my life and I opened it up to all areas of my life, to my family, to my social life, to my physical life, getting in shape, watching what I eat, stop doing the extracurricular. Listen, we all fall, we all stumble, we all make mistakes in our life. But if you get on a path and you start bettering yourself in these areas and you start giving back and you have a plan of action in your spiritual life and your physical life, it's so important. And your social life, how you act, how people perceive you. So when you guys are here and you guys are in your space, no matter what you have going on at your house, in your apartment, wherever you're staying, none of that, all you need to focus, when you're here, you need to be the best you. You got to be a professional. You got to be a gentleman. You got to focus on coming in here with the right attitude. If you're not smiling, then fake it. You have no reason not to be thankful for everything you got, for being here, for having a job. Focus yourself in on what you're doing. But then when you get out of here, you got to do one thing when you go home. You have to go look yourself in the mirror and do a mirror test. And you ask yourself, where am I at in these areas of my life? And you got to write them down. whether it's your spiritual life, your physical life, you just go take inventory. Say, you know what? I go to the office, but I really don't do everything I can do. I don't really want to work out in the morning. I smoke weed at night. Whatever you're doing, take inventory. Start cutting some habits. Did anybody set any resolutions on the first of the year? Anybody write down any goals? You need to have a plan of action. You need to have a direction. You guys all should have your goals right in front of you, and you should all be trying to attain them. It's as simple as that. Success happens when you're in motion and you're charging at it, guys. You have to see it, or you're going to forget it. Do you think that the Dead Sea is not going to just jump on you and make you want to sit in this space? The enemy wants to see each and every one of you guys just stay exactly where you are. And if you want to grow, you need to focus on where you want to be with a purpose inside you. Okay, you need to have a purpose. You need to set a goal, then you need to plan your work, and then you need to work the plan. And you take little chops at the tree every day in each area of your life. Just little chops. Check them off. Your endorphins start rolling when you start checking off little actions. Trust me. When you're starting to achieve a few things and you're starting to feel it, things start happening for you, man, it's contagious. And the people around you, you want to see a team buzz. If we have, right now there's no goal setters in here. Did you know that 3% of Americans set goals and write them down? They own the vast majority of wealth in this country. You have no choice but to set goals if you want to succeed. It was these goals, and it was the plan, and it was the action, and it was this intrinsic motivation that I have, where my heart and my brain was in a purpose to go in a direction that nothing was going to stop me. So that's why you guys got, when you write down a goal that's important to you, you're going to have something that should be a purposeful goal. I want to travel to X. I want to be financially free here. I want to, go on a mission trip, something where you're giving back to. I don't know what it is, but whatever your purpose is, you need to find that. That's everywhere around you, but until inside you decide you want to be the sales leader, be at another level, nothing's gonna happen. You can look and see and wish and drive and sit on the wish Ferris wheel and wish land like everybody does that's stuck in that Dead Sea. You need to be the Sea of Galilee. You need to let it flow through you. You need to set goals, plan your work your plan, get into fucking action. Sorry about the F word, but sometimes you just gotta look yourself in the mirror and go, it's fucking time. It's my time.